Have a nice and safe day to all my viewers again. After a long time, we are going to discuss about another short topic that is about the peptides and protein. And my dear students, today in this video, we will discuss up to the simplest structure of protein, that is the primary and secondary structure. In the coming video, in the next video, we will discuss detailing about the tertiary, quaternary, what are the bonds involved in stabilizing these proteins, everything. Okay, then let's discuss about the peptides. We have already discussed about the amino acids, essential, non-essential categories of amino acid. Everything has been discussed. Okay, so let's discuss what are peptides. Dear students, suppose this is one amino acid. This is the carboxyl group. This is amino group, one hydrogen, and this is the side chain. It is variable. Another amino acid here, another amine group, carboxyl group. This is alpha carbon atom, hydrogen, R group. Another amino acid here. Another amino acid here having amine group, central carbon, hydrogen. This is R group, side chain, and carboxyl group. Okay. When these amino acids react with each other, what happens? The amino acid have got the ability to react with each other. What happens at the time of reaction? Let me to elaborate these structures. Suppose this is carboxyl. I can write like this. OH, amine, like this. Amine. Okay. Amine. Here also elaborated. O, OH, NH2. Okay. What happens? In these cases, the reaction takes place between amine group and carboxyl group. When the OH from the OH group from the carboxyl, it is a OH group here and H from the amine group. They combine to produce water. So one molecule of water eliminated here. What remains? The remaining component are like this. This remains. This bonding between carboxyl and amine form the peptide bond. Like the OH group here, hydrogen from here. It is eliminated, producing water, and a bond is formed between them. This bond, another bond. This is called as peptide bond. Peptide bond. Okay. On the basis of number of amino acid residue, these peptide bonds are divided into different categories. Here there are 3 amino acid residue. It is a tripeptide. When there are 2 residue, it is a dipeptide. When there is a single residue, when there are between 2 to 10 residue, it is one of the oligopeptide. When there is more than 10 amino acids, these are polypeptides. The polypeptides are proteins. Clear? So the peptide bond formation takes place between 2 adjacent amino acids only. Clear? In this peptide chain, what happens? If we see at one terminal of the peptide bond, there is a free amine group. At another terminal, there is a free carboxyl group. So this amine group is free here. Here carboxyl group is free. This is called as N-terminal, and this is carboxyl terminal or C-terminal. So in a protein chain or in a peptide chain, there are two terminals, amine and carboxyl terminal. Whatever, we may add another amino acid here. The same carboxyl remain as free. In this end, if we add another amino acid, then the same amino group remain as free. So these amino and carboxyl groups are present as free state. So these amino and carboxyl group remain as free state in these cases. Okay, so it is about the peptide chain. Clear? So we can't call a peptide into protein. Okay, why? What is the reason? For achieving biological functions, the peptide bond must be folded. Clear? Must be folded. Other than folding, the peptide cannot form the function of a protein. So these are peptides, the polypeptides folded to produce protein. How the folding takes place and how the proteins are organized, what are level of organization. First check. Okay, so let me erase. Okay, so we can call the peptides into proteins, rather these are not folded. After folding, they become protein. Okay. The proteins always represent multi-diversified structures found in protein. Okay, so what are multi-diversified structures? Protein. The multi-diversified structure is due to the various type of conformations, structural organizations. The first structure is primary structure. Second one is secondary structure. Then tertiary structure. Then quaternary. This is the last, quaternary structure. So there are 4 different level of organization in protein. Today we will discuss about these two structures, primary and secondary. For the next class we will discuss about the tertiary and quaternary structures. Let's see what is primary and how it is different from others. Okay, this primary structure of protein, it produces a linear sequence of amino acids. How? Suppose we have to make a bond here. This is one amino acid, another amino acid, this is another amino acid, this is another amino acid. In primary structure, only peptide bonds are present between them. Except peptide bond, there is no other bonds. Clear? So how peptide bonds help in this process? Actually, the adjacent amino acids produces peptide bond. After formation of peptide, a long chain is represented, which is the primary structure. But already Already in peptide I have told that whenever the proteins get folded, they can only produce their function, able to produce their functions. The biological functions are due to folding. So none of the protein in their primary structure. Clear? So to achieve biological function, they have to fold it. Okay. So primary structure is represented by a number of linear sequence of amino acid. But this is a existence of amino acid chain, but have not maximum biological functions. Then come to this secondary structure. Secondary structure. What is in it? Except peptide bond. The peptide bond is the primary bond. It is always produced between first, second, third, fourth, suppose another here, fifth amino acid. All these bonds are peptide bonds. The peptide bond can exist between adjacent amino acids. Then what is a secondary bond? This peptide bond is primary bond because it is always formed first. Except peptide bond, the protein cannot be produced, because for peptide formation, the polypeptide formation, this peptide chain is essential, and any other bond that is other than peptide is called as secondary bond. Clear? So in secondary structure there is a bond. Suppose this is one chain, protein chain, linear chain of amino acids. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. These amino acids, they join by linear peptide chain. What happened? Suppose another bond formed between amino acid 2 and 4, any two non-adjacent. Okay, non-adjacent. Suppose 2 and 4, 3 and 6, 2 and 5, 2 and 8, any of them. This non-adjacent amino acid produces a secondary bond, which may be disulfide bond, it may be hydrogen bond, it may be hydrophobic bond, it may be ionic bond. Okay, ionic bond. Any of the bond can be formed between non-adjacent amino acids. What happened? Suppose this is a disulfide bond that is formed between 2 and 5. So the primary structure has been modified here. What is the modification? You see, the modification is that suppose 1 remain as usual, 1, this is 2, first, second, then 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 amino acid, 7, 8. All these amino acids which were present in this series are present because they are bonded by primary bond, that is peptide bond. And between 2 and 5, disulfide bond, SS disulfide bond is formed. So this bond is other than peptide bond. It is called as secondary bond. And due to secondary bond, there is a modification in protein chain. This modification is secondary structure. Okay, this is the secondary folding, secondary fold, and this structure is called as secondary structure. So this secondary structure is the modified form of primary structure. Clear? This is a modified primary structure as we know. Okay. This secondary structure can be represented by two forms, alpha helix, then beta pleated sheet. These are the two basic type of secondary structures. Let's discuss what are these. This alpha helix. What is alpha helix? The alpha helix represent a coiled structure. Coiled structure. Suppose helically coiled around axis. Okay, this is alpha helix. Remember, these helices are always right-handed coiled. Okay, the right-handed coiled structures. Okay, they produces. Suppose this one is the axis. Around the axis, it gets folded up. At each loop, there are 3.6 residue of amino acids are there, and between two adjacent amino acids, there is a distance of 1.5 angstrom. Okay, and within one loop, there is about 54 angstrom. Okay. So this is about the repeating unit. Okay, when these are longitudinally arranged, it is called as helix, or it is alpha helix. Right-handed helix, left-handed helix are rare. Okay, all proteins, remember, all secondary proteins are right-handed. We can take the example of keratin here. The protein present in nails, hair, these are alpha helix protein. Then the second structure is beta pleated cyst. When these proteins are arranged in pleats like this, horizontal, it is called as beta pleated sheet. Okay, so this beta pleated sheet is seen in fibroin, that is present in silk. Okay, beta pleated sheet and alpha. These structures are stabilized by hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding stabilize them. Clear? Some other proteins do not lead to simple functions, so they are not represented by this secondary structure, rather they are tertiary and quaternary structures. Okay, so the beta pleated sheet are again divided into parallel or antiparallel. What is the difference between parallel or antiparallel structures? Suppose this is folded here in this manner. It is folded. Okay. At this folding, there is amine NH2. Suppose here another amine terminal, here another amine terminal, carboxylate, carboxylate, carboxylate. This such type of representation represent parallel beta pleated sheet. What about antiparallel sheets? Suppose here amine carboxyl, another carboxyl, amine, again amine carboxyl, then carboxyl, amine. So this type of, when the folding of proteins not in a regular manner, it is called as antiparallel sheets. Okay, so we have discussed about in simplification manner the primary, secondary structures. For the next video, we'll discuss about the tertiary and quaternary structures. Thank you all.